the first thing I would recommend a new business doing this is a thumbnail editor. Bar none, that is the best use of capital investment. Before you have a video editor, you need a thumbnail artist. And that can triple your click-through rate, CTR. And that is really the name of the game. Like, why should I click on your video to begin with? If we went through the old thumbnails on my channel, you'll see a huge genesis shift as we upgraded to a real designer, like building out thumbnails. And one of the mistakes I think a lot of people make is they make all of their thumbnails look the same. And I highly recommend altering the colors, because the consumer can't tell if they've seen your video before. And if they're looking at the list of your videos, they'll be like, I don't know where to start. And they don't have an eye attraction. 50% of my hits come from like YouTube homepage showing it. So we always have to have something fresh, different. I have a different gawking face. Close-up shots of faces are paramount, showing real emotion. I hired a photographer. I'm like, hey, this is gonna be the weirdest session you've ever had. 2,000 shots of my face. I have this piece of paper with me where I've listed down all of the emotions that I need to fake in a shot. And I don't need you to do any touch up or editing. I just need you to take 2,000 shots in about 90 minutes. Just keep flashing the camera. And he's like, okay, here's how much I charge for that. And I said, okay. And I went back for him 2 years later and did another round. You run a business, you just put a lot of sweat, equity, and blood, sweat, and tears into it. And the longer I've been a business owner, the more hair I've lost. But when you're just starting, like the way that we did it was we just took a still from the video and then just like put a caption over it. And that was effective and it worked okay and it was fine. And like, that's the quick and dirty way to do it. But today, having like a professional camera take a shot and I'd be like, or I'll be like, and then, or I'll hold my cell phone up and be like, look, check these numbers out. And those thumbnails are very effective. It's very much like Mr. Beast type thumbnail-esque. But when I hired a YouTube coach, that was the number one thing that he told me to focus on was thumbnails. So there's no question, if you want to be serious with your YouTube content, thumbnails are where you need to invest half of your time.
So you said something there about, hiring a thumbnail designer as one of your first hires. How do you hire a bunch? Because I know everyone who has a YouTube channel probably knows that you get all these emails from somebody, hey, I'm a thumbnail designer, I could do it, and so you get plummeted by this stuff and you just, whatever, you kind of file it away and put it off. So how do you actually hire a good one? How do you know that they're good? Like, do you have any tips on that piece?
So this is actually one of the hardest hires to make. Bad news bears on this one. If you have the budget and you're okay with dropping like $50 a thumbnail, like customthumbnails.com, I would endorse them. I used them for like half a year. We do a lot of hiring and we try and do everything internally as an agency. And so there's only 2 designers out of my list of 70 designers that I actually like how they do thumbnails. So that kind of gives you an idea of like how niche this particular job is. But there are templates available out there for like YouTube thumbnails, and you can try and teach a designer from scratch, or you can try and do it yourself. A lot of people will try and do it themselves. But I think going to Fiverr or any other, low cost ticket places where you say, hey, build me a thumbnail with this photo attached and this text, you're going to get a pretty decent outcome from that if you spoon feed the designer. The problem a lot of people have is they don't know what text to put on the thumbnail. They don't know what face to put on. And if that's you, you're going to really struggle with this exercise, and the designer is not going to know what the heck you want. And then you're going to have a lot of back and forth. But if you know exactly what you want, finding the designer is not terribly hard, especially if you're low production, like you don't have a lot going out. Just hire like a freelancer off a website like Fiverr. But once you have enough work where you've got full-time design going on, this is going to be a very difficult hire. Almost all of my designers in the Philippines, and I think they do a pretty good job over there. I don't see any advantage to a US-based designer.
Oh, interesting. That's good to know. What would you say to those who are kind of even puzzled about this whole strategy, because they recognize you're an agency, which is a done-for-you service, right? You manage people's brands, but you're out there teaching people how to do it themselves.
Okay, so I am an education company that happens to be an agency. Now, once you understand that statement, the rest of this makes sense. So I share all of my trade secrets. Of my 20 million, I make about $1 million per year on info products, whether that's coaching, SOPs. I have like 1,000 SOPs. And what I noticed when I started selling SOPs on how to grow brands on Amazon is the number one customer that bought those was other agencies. And I was like, this is interesting. And so I was like, okay, I'll go build out SOPs just for agencies. And then that was an upsell product. And I made another $250,000 on that. And so your ICP can shift. It can also get confusing. If you ask them like what I do or who I am, none of them are going to say I'm an education company. Like, I guarantee you, nobody sees us as an education company. We are, right? The number one reason an employee joins me is to learn. I've made learning and teaching 2 of our 5 core values. So we operate like an education facility. We're like Xavier and the X-Men. I teach these mutants that they have laser eyes and they go out and shoot things. They're like, oh my gosh, I got laser eyes now, because these Amazon technical skills that we teach are really that world-changing career development. So in that sense, we develop people, and sometimes, Cyclops sticks around and helps me run the place. And other times Wolverine decides to do their own thing and leave. But I win either way, because now they've got my name attached to their resume for the rest of their lives. And they're using my certificates from Mag School on LinkedIn and all that good stuff. So it's a win no matter how I slice it. I share everything in my content.
Let's build your Amazon business together. Partner with my Amazon guy and let's elevate your Amazon game. Scan the QR code or visit the link. We're excited to help you.